Welcome back. Global emissions of CO2 have dropped by 17% around the world amid the pandemic lockdown, though while flights may be grounded for now and there are fewer cars on the road, there are concerns that the dip will not last. Joining me now is the chairman of Third Generation Environmentalism and former government advisor, Tom Burke. Thank you for being with us. First of all, just your reaction to the research. I guess it shows the challenge ahead.
It certainly does that. In one level, of course, it's very welcome news, but one would have wished it hadn't been bought at such a terrible cost in human lives and to the economy. And it is important to remember that this was just the, as it were, how much reduction from the toughest day of the lockdown. Actually, over the year, it may well be only about 7% reduction, which is what we need to do every year if we're going to be on course to meet our commitments under the Paris Agreement.
Yeah, and I guess the question now is, can you have a rapid economic recovery, which many countries around the world will be seeking now, particularly less developed countries as well, and environmentally based policy? Will those countries be looking to fossil fuels to drive this recovery?
Well, there may well be some countries looking for that, but actually, if what you want to do is to get your economy to recover really fast, what you've got to do is restore purchasing power. That's your top priority. And that means putting people back into jobs right away. And the quickest and best way to do that is to improve the efficiency of our buildings. And if you do that, you also reduce people's energy bills, so you get a double whammy on increasing purchasing power. So that really is the best thing you could do. And so if common sense to the recovery as applied to the recovery, then we certainly can reconcile recovering our economies and lowering our carbon emissions. If we go back to our bad old ways, then we will just simply undo all the good we've done over the last painful few months.
But I guess with all the money now being spent on bailing out businesses, supporting businesses and supporting employees, will there be the money over the next 10 years, because we've got a half emissions, I think it is, by 2030, will there be the money to spend on green energy and industries?
Well, there certainly will be the money. I think the central bankers have made that very clear. The investment community has made very clear they don't see interest rates increasing anytime soon. So the government can borrow money at practically zero cost for the future. So if the government decides to spend money on the right things, then the real question becomes, how are we going to pay that back eventually? And again, you do that by improving productivity of your economy. Well, if we actually use the increasingly cheap renewables, make a much more efficient electricity system by taking advantage of digitization, then we've got the opportunity of not only lowering our carbon benefits, but also of increasing the overall productivity of the economy, and therefore making it possible to square that circle that you've outlined.
And Tom, what would you say to those who will say, look, this is given us a wake-up call on the crises we should really be worried about, the crises that cost many, many lives, and that these pandemics are the things we need to prepare for, and climate change we can put on the back burner?
Well, first of all, I'd say they're absolutely right to be worrying a bit about what else is out there. But, we've all 8 billion of us have had a collective experience of what disruption can occur and what it really means when you don't take care of real problems. Well, the disruption we're currently experiencing from a pandemic is nothing compared to the disruption would appear if we failed to meet the targets of the Paris Agreement. It will be much more systemic, much wider, in its impacts on our lives, and much, much more difficult to deal with.
And we're staring down the barrel, it seems, of much increased unemployment, certainly here at the moment, and I'm sure in many places around the world. How many of those jobs, realistically, do you think could be absorbed by green industry? Could a substantial amount be?
Yeah, I mean, if you look just in this country, doing the kind of work we should do to improve our energy efficiency, that alone would create about 150,000 jobs over the next couple of years. And that's really an important point. It's not just the number of jobs, but how quickly you can put them back into the economy. And that, for instance, improving energy efficiency puts people to work a lot quicker than building new nuclear power stations would.
Right, and just finally, so you think that a rapid recovery, economic recovery, and investment in green, new technology, you think that's compatible, do you?
I don't know about the rapid bit. I think there's a lot of caution amongst economists about how quickly we can recover, but we will make a much better recovery if we apply common sense and don't build back a worse energy system than the one we're actually switching off at the moment.
Okay, interesting stuff. Tom Burke, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Pleasure.